Abhilash, and welcome to the Technology series. As we had discussed, we'll today discuss primarily about how the pandemic has impacted and how technology played a major role in enabling business continuity. So, as a services expert, managed services expert, and cloud services expert, what is your take on it? How do you see it?
Yeah, so even as we spoke, so the main part is adaptation, or the main part is looking at services from your business standpoint. And sometimes you need a small incident or push to happen when you realize that this is important to our business or this is important to our day-to-day life. So we have been seeing good positive response towards the services discussion, or the security discussion, or maybe the business continuity or operation continuity discussion, what we used to do 2 or 3 years back. And now the response has been completely different. It has been like it has been accepted now as a plan, or maybe a business plan to have from organization standpoint of view.
So what are the key technologies you adopted, or you feel that which helped you sail through this pandemic, or helping your customers and partners doing better?
So we sell technology. At the same time, we also use technology. And even though we sell technology and we understand technology better, sometimes we also need to adapt, and we start adopting new technologies which should have been done previously. So the pandemic was one such incident when we also realized that we might have done a little more in terms of the consumption of technology, or maybe the technology adaptation within our organization. So at the same time, we spoke to multiple companies, because it was all of a sudden the 100% of your workforce had to go home and start working from there. It is not that easy for enterprises who have thousands of employees, and almost 30% of them are operational, who work out of desk, who are not mobile. So shifting them to home and making them work within a short span of time is challenging. So
Correct.
You first start making all of them connect to the data center or the application what they have. And at the same time, you also need to look at the control of the data, control of the devices, because sometimes they start working from their own devices. Sometimes they start connecting from their own network because of the network issues. And you need to allow that initially to run your business. But gradually you need to look at those areas where you can look at the cybersecurity part of it, or maybe the data security part of it, endpoint security part of it. So there are multiple technologies what we adopted ourselves, as well as we helped our customers to use. Maybe side-to-side VPN, then multi-factor authentication, then endpoint security, endpoint backup, then slowly migrating few of their workloads to cloud as they started settling in from the work from home scenario.
What was the primary demand during this, when it started? What was the primary demand from enterprises? What you came across?
So the primary demand was around endpoint, because they wanted their workforce to start working and start doing the operational job, because that time it was also year end. It started in March, so
Correct.
They had many things to do. So primary demand was remote working setup. Then, as I said, gradually maybe within a month, the main demand was to look at the security part of it, because they realized now we have sent everyone home, let's secure them first. So that was the primary demand. After that, we started speaking about their endpoint backup, data security, data protection, and planning on a generalistic operational continuity plan, because business continuity plan previously used to have only DR or backup in mind. Okay. And looking at these kind of scenarios, it is not only limited to DR or backup. It can be anything. So you need to look at everything, starting from onboarding your resources to train them remotely. Remote HR to remote accounts to remote IT, remote sales, everything became remote. So the terminologies are changing, and it has changed a lot.
So how do you see the cloud and other things coming up, and the technology landscape is also fast changing? So how do you foresee that in future, what all things will be need to be looked upon for being ready?
I think it has started. So cloud, we have been speaking about digital transformation. We have been speaking about automation. We have been speaking about control management, single dashboard management of your whole workspace, whole workforce previously. But for last couple of years, or maybe 1 or 2 years, now the organization are looking at a full-fledged plan. So the blueprint what the enterprises used to have 8 years back when it comes to your IT operation or IT transformation, it has changed completely. So we can see multiple organizations adopting cloud or maybe adopting technologies on a forced adaptation way, if we can say. And then now they're realizing that as we have adopted it, let's secure it, or maybe let's automate it. Let's see how we can manage it from there. So that discussion is taking shape, and migration to cloud or maybe migration to a hyperscaler setup is now taking shape.
Okay. What are the challenges you faced as an advisor, as a technology advisor? What are the challenges you first faced in the initial phases?
So initially it was it was actually a cultural change what we saw, because you cannot expect all of your workforce or all of your employees start working from home smoothly. Within your employee, you have multiple people who are open to technology or maybe who understand technology. Right. And when it comes to you just plug in your laptop and start working remotely, it is not that easy for every employee. So, and we work as a consultant. So we help many customers train how to, start using the social or maybe the WebEx or Teams kind of calls. So the adaptation helped to enterprises who are across the technology or maybe the cultural adaptation, I can say. So then working with the IT team to secure all the workforce, all the endpoints, and after that taking backup of the data. These challenges we face. Then again, network was the biggest hurdle. Everyone started going home. Someone is working from remote area. How can we have a good network connectivity with them? Or maybe can we have an application which can help optimizing the content, so that they can start working from low network or maybe very low latency kind of
low bandwidth areas.
Yeah. Yes.
So technology adoption by the employees also was a challenge.
Yes, adaptation was a challenge, and it was to be, because we were seeing these things for the first time, at least in India. Correct. Working from home, connecting with everyone, getting on a Teams call in 30 seconds notice. So these things were first time for us.
So looking at all these things, what will be your advice to your peer groups? What kind of preparation or planning they can do so that they can be future ready?
First, we need to really, as I said, we need to really go back to the drawing board and start redrawing the blueprint, because the previous plan of action what we used to have, even we as a company used to have, is not the same what the market is looking at now. Even though we might or might not have a pandemic in near future, but we cannot risk by saying let's not be ready for that. So right. The security part, we saw a large number of customers being impacted with cybersecurity attacks and ransomware attacks. So even we have customers now who are facing challenges, who have there are legal things going on and everything within their organizations when it comes to cybersecurity and ransomware. So they need to look at the security, data security, infrastructure security. We need to look at the automation part of it. And when I say automation, it's not only your application, the whole workforce automation, the business continuity operation part of it. So that is one. And the migration plan. So the data center, even if you have 10 VMs or 10,000 VMs, it's the same. Sometimes we take, if we have, let's say 10 VMs within our own organization and we have hosted on premises, we do not take the security part that seriously when we compare it to the enterprise level setup when they have a full-fledged data center. But ransomware attack or maybe the security glitches, they do not see the size of the data center. They just need, they just look at a way to just get in. So
Correct.
security is equally important irrespective of the size of the data center or size of the business. So that's the key what we see.
Yeah. Some of the reports mention that during these pandemics, cyber attacks or ransomware attacks in fact grew by more than 400%. How do you see that? How do you feel that an organization can be ready to stay ready for mitigating such kind of things?
Correct. So, and the main reason was because previously you had maybe 2 or 3 doors to your data center, and
Right.
you have all of a sudden 200 doors. And as I said, all of your employees do not understand remote working, and all of your workforce do not understand how to securely connect to your IT infrastructure. So that was the reason there was an increment. So everyone is connecting from their own devices, or maybe even if the office device is not, it is not under control of your own network security. So that was the reason it increased, and it will be there because even there are multiple reports which suggests it will increase actually. So and that has become a business model for ransomware attackers. So we need to secure our infrastructure, our landscape first, and maybe a business continuity plan. You have end-to-end security. You have zero trust security for your employees. You have zero trust security setup. You have SSO. You have MFA, so that the login is limited to employee only. Then look at the backup and DR part.
Do you see also an opportunity in educating the employees towards being IT ready or being tech savvy a little bit?
Yes. So maybe as the cloud technology or maybe digital transformation was being discussed 5 years back, now everyone is kind of ready for that. So the pandemic situation actually created a platform where everyone is now keen to know all these things. So they have used it. Let's make them understand what is the importance of these things, and it is very important because even though the pandemic has been like fading out and people have started coming to office, but security threat remains same or maybe it increases. So IT ready of all the resources, starting from the back office to receptionist. So that is very important to organizations.
So are you also looking to that side?
Yes, we do, and even we have started few of the trainings or maybe weekly get together for us as well as for our customers. So we do take trainings, take sessions with within our employees, how to take backup of our data on cloud, how to secure, how not to share the password with your colleagues. So sometimes if you are not able to back up your data, you might just share the password key. You do it for me today. Maybe I'm not able to do it. So it's okay to not back up one day's data rather than to compromise your own security. So those kind of trainings needs to be done. As I said, it is more kind of a cultural growth rather than a technological growth.
Yeah, cultural shift completely towards adapting to technology.
Yes.
Some of your peers also spoke about AI ML going to be one of the in thing. What is your say on that?
AI ML has been an integral part of IT growth or IT technology when it comes to certain areas, and it will be there. And we are seeing good increment. Maybe we are not able to, as a layman, maybe we are not able to sense that in our day-to-day life, but it has increased. Look at education, look at healthcare sector, look at e-commerce side. So maybe we are consuming it, but we do not know that AI and ML is behind this kind of experience, graphical user experiences. So it is going to increase because for remote working also it plays a very important role.
Very true. Very true.
Right.
Great. So any advice for your peers, colleagues?
So maybe the planning and management part of the IT, not IT, because every even the IT manager or maybe IT owner is now a business owner now. So the business also directly gets impacted, and business is also equally dependent on IT, maybe more important dependent on IT now. So the ownership of the organization remains with every department or maybe every business unit. So planning and creating a right way of migration plan or maybe a blueprint on how we can manage. It cannot be done in a day or like in a month, but we should have a roadmap, a proper roadmap, and we need to start thinking from security and BCP. That is most priority and most important part.
So end-to-end plan is what you
Yes,
speaking about is.
you should have a roadmap. Maybe the adaptation may be phase wise, or maybe the migration may be phase wise, but you should have a 100% roadmap on how, where do you see your operation in next couple of years or maybe couple of quarters.
Great. Thank you so much, Abhishek, for speaking to us.
Thank you, Roger.
Talking to you, and we look forward to many more such sessions with you.
Thank you.
Great day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.